halfway through the season, Michael, I'm looking at the draft order right now, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, Arizona, yeah, Kyler might be coming back this weekend. They probably want to move on in their new era. Chicago has 2
Right.
and 3. They're taking a quarterback. Giants have 4. They might move up. They're taking a quarterback. New England, the Mac Jones thing is done. They're taking a quarterback.
Yeah.
The Rams, Stafford on his last legs. They're taking a quarterback. 7, the Packers love. They need to take a quarterback. 8, Tampa Bay has Baker. They need to take a quarterback. 9, Denver. Sean Payton probably wants his guy. They might take a quarterback. 11, you got Atlanta with Ritter. They need to take a quarterback. Like, Washington's trying to figure out what they got and how. So, like, everybody needs a quarterback in the top 10. So, a lot of people released their top 50 big boards this week, and I was counting the number of quarterbacks that we say this is a really strong class. Of course, Caleb and May, we all know that. Then you see Shedeur Sanders in there, Michael Penix, Ewers, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix. Like, the consensus is all of them are in the top 50. Right now, how many quarterbacks do you think are going to go in the first round?
All right, let's go through it. Let's work through it. Because here's the thing. I'm seeing J.J. McCarthy in some people's top 20.
I saw that too.
Which feels crazy to me.
Yeah.
That feels nuts. But so we're talking May, Williams, Penix, possibly Ewers.
Yes.
Ewers is a possible in there. Ooh, Jaden Daniels.
Is Bo Nix.
I guess if we're Bo Nix and JJ feel crazy, but Bo Nix feels like he got some real coaching. I don't think I think JJ's been so limited in what they let him do, but somebody's going to fall in love with him the way he tests. He's going to test off the charts. So we're looking at 7 right now. Are we looking at 7?
Yeah.
7 guys, and then
did we say Sanders?
I don't know what's going to happen. Shedeur?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Like if he leaves, is he going to leave his dad in this situation? That's the real question to me. But if I'm his dad, I'm telling him to go because we can't protect you, man. We can't protect you. We can't help you, buddy. You need to leave because you're getting dogged out right now. And then, like, what do we do with Jordan Travis? Where does he fit into all this? And that's another part that's going to be interesting because I think out of all these guys, with the exception probably of Penix, Jordan Travis is the guy that probably kind of gets it the most and understands that he can be dynamic. Like, Jordan Travis is I remember when Russell Wilson was coming out, and obviously he wasn't a high draft pick, but Jordan Travis reminds me a little bit of that in terms of what he's able to do if the right team picks him. Like, I could see, because the Seahawks pick, the Seahawks pick 25th right now, right?
Ooh.
And so I think they're in the mid-20s. I could see them going right after that. So that's all. That's all I got.
I'm surprised, getting, as we were looking at different mock drafts for this specific segment, I'm surprised at the number of mock drafts right now that have Marvin Harrison Jr. being the number 1 pick in the draft. It just looks like a strong quarterback draft. We've talked about how many teams in the top 10. I think 9 of them right now, and I'm not including Levis. That's the one I would not include. Well, Chicago's in there twice, but like 9 of 11, whatever it is, almost everybody needs a quarterback in the top 10. Everybody. And a lot of people are mocking Marvin Harrison Jr. as the number 1 overall pick. I think that's the most surprising thing. More shocking than Caleb Williams taking a fall here.
Yeah, and the fact that we have heard that and seen him going so high and you could find really good value on him is pretty amazing because, I mean, just from doing the show a few years now, the closer we get to draft, these things change so much that it's like, hey, you might as well just sprinkle a few guys you like and get some value because these things change. It's a bit volatile as we get closer to draft time.
There is a greater than 90% chance that a team that will draft a quarterback if they're picking at number 1 will have the top pick. In other words, of all the teams that could finish with the worst record, and you rattled them off earlier, and we can once again, talking about the Bears, we're talking about the Cardinals, all these teams that could finish with the worst record and the number 1 overall draft pick, there is greater than a 90% chance that a quarterback will be chosen by a team that really, really needs one. So to me, if you're betting on Marvin Harrison Jr. to go number 1, there's not value there. The value is in the quarterback. And so if we're figuring out Caleb Williams versus the field, I still think at plus 180, the field offers value. But filter out, take away this notion that a non-quarterback is going to go number 1 overall, because number 1, the NFL is desperate for talented quarterbacks. They are desperate at this point. So definitely that matters here. They're a lot less desperate for wide receivers. That's for darn sure. Or really any other position. Like a pass rusher, a lineman going to go number 1 overall? No, absolutely not. In terms of making the playoffs, to me, that's very different because as we mentioned before, the NFC is terrible. Those 3 wildcard spots may very well feature teams that we don't think highly of, or at least 2 teams, and then the second place contender in the NFC East. So as far as that's concerned, I am a lot more bullish about the Vikings now than I have ever been. Not so much to win the division, but just to make the playoffs. I think the fact that we're seeing plus money right now, that is beyond intriguing to me.
Is that because of the Atlanta game, or is it more than that? Like if they lose that game, are we having this conversation?
Maybe so. Like in large part because so maybe it's best like when we're talking about wild card and because I think the division is a real long shot. I would like to focus less on that and more who else are they contending with to get a wild card spot. So let me know if there's a team missing here in terms of the real contenders. So second place team in the NFC East is getting in, right? So we can say that and we're done. So 2 spots left. Seattle probably gets 1. And so then if we have 1 remaining, then the Vikings have to beat out Washington, second place team in the NFC South, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and the Rams.
Right.
Is there anything else that stands out to you guys?
Yeah, which teams?
So it'd be Washington, second place in the NFC South, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and the Rams. I think those are the only teams that can really get this spot.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So you're worried about Washington, Atlanta. I don't think anybody's worried about Tampa, Green Bay, right?
What about the Rams?
Long shots. That's fair. Yeah. In terms of those that could make it, I would include in that bucket. Like the Giants, they're done. The Cardinals, they're done despite Kyler Murray potentially coming back. Like in terms of those, I would even entertain. I would say it comes down to say 5 teams. And 3 of those, if you want to dismiss them, I will certainly not push back on that. So then it comes down to, Vikings, Washington, second place team in the NFC South. I think the Vikings are the best team. Like, even though the strength of schedule may be a little bit tougher for the Vikings than, say, Atlanta or New Orleans, I think the Vikings have the best team right now.
Okay. Washington is the challenger that first comes to mind. So then you think matchup-wise, how many great quarterbacks are they going to face that are just going to light up that secondary, that are flat out bad matchups for them? So it's Geno this week. They're a big underdog. Could they go to Seattle and win? Yes, they could. Then it's the Giants. I guess it's going to be DeVito. Yesterday, Dayball says, we don't know if Tyrod's going to come back this year. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. We know Daniel Jones is out for the year. So they're QB3, QB4, I don't know what it's going to be. So they get the Giants one more time. That's going to be a win for Washington. They still have Dallas twice. So it's going to be tough. They have Miami. They have San Francisco to go. It's not going to be easy for Washington.
There's a good fall off. I mean, I think that win. Remember, they got rid of 2 of their best defensive players. How long can this boost continue? I'm just not a believer this season.
Yeah, no, I
think they fall off.
We're saying around 500. That's going to get that last spot probably, right? 9-8, maybe.
Completely.
Yeah. And so Minnesota, I mean, I brought up the division because I think the next 4 are all winnable. If they go 2-2 in their next 4, that's a disappointment. If they're sitting there at 7-6. So they should be like 8-5, I would think, after the Vegas game. And then their last month is going to be challenging. It's Cincinnati, Detroit twice, and whatever Green Bay is at that point. So they should be right around that mark that gets you in.